From a secret underground bunker somewhere in the Arizona desert, 40 feet below the Earth's surface, two men, aided by their robotic artificial intelligence, Jennifer,
at your service.
hide from their wives and kids to discuss man stuff with interesting and unusual people. These men are the Bunker Boys. That's right. We're the Bunker Boys, and we're back. And we've got a really good show for you today. Something that's a little out of the ordinary. We've got an interview lined up, and Garth, so you don't feel so alone, we'll have someone else who's witnessed some ghostly type things.
Thank you.
Yeah, interesting stuff. We've got Mike standing by, ready to talk to us from Phoenix. And it should be a hair raiser.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. Anything new and exciting with you?
No,
Just that rock
I
you're
just
moving
laid
around?
down 20 ton of rock.
Yeah, that's back-breaking work. But
It is.
But you do have a tractor, that helps.
Yes,
But
that
you still have
helps
to
an awful lot.
do the fine-tune work with your shovel and your rake
And the rake.
and your neighbors.
And my neighbors. Thank goodness for my neighbors.
Well, we didn't help a whole lot, but yeah, it's always nice to help because you help us so much. But we have a good show starting for you here. Jennifer,
Yes.
thanks for being there.
Thank you, Chris.
Jen, what do you think about ghosts?
Interesting.
I knew you'd think so. Well, we'll get right to it here. Without further ado,
Adieu.
adieu. That means goodbye in French. I thought you'd know that with how you say goodbye to your wife every day.
Au revoir.
There you go. I thought you were fluent.
No, I'm flatulent.
That I believe. Jen, do you believe that?
Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Jen.
Okay. Well, we'll get Mike on the line.
Your guest on line 1.
Wow.
So, Mike, you say you've had experiences since you were young. Is that right?
Yeah, my experiences actually go from when I was young until my end of high school. So I grew up in a city called El Monte that's in Los Angeles County.
Mm-hmm. Know where it is.
It didn't take place here in Arizona.
Okay.
So when I was young, it's really hard to explain because many people don't say, well, you can't remember your memories from when you were 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can. I remember I used to see shadows. I used to sleep with my parents. They had a little bed for me next to their bed. And they had drapes by the window, and I would always see shadows behind the drapes. It was weird.
Wow.
And I would just lay there in fear until I fell asleep. And I got to liking Batman when I was about 4 or 5, and I started seeing like a Batman figure behind the drapes. I don't know if I was just going crazy or what, but that's what I started seeing at some point. And I was playing with the Batman figure one time, and the thorns of the bat, or the how Batman has like two horns.
His little ears, yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his little bat ears. Well, I spun the action figure like in front of me, like any kid does. You know how they just spin their action figures in front of them.
Sure.
And it cut me so bad from like my chest to my umbilical cord that my mom ended up throwing all the Batman stuff I had away. Because, I don't know if she was worried that something supernatural happened or whatever, but it freaked her out so bad because it cut me pretty deep that she ended up throwing all my Batman stuff away.
Wow.
Yeah, that would put the scare into me.
So was your action figure possessed, do you think, or?
Well, if I continue, you can get your own opinion on that.
Okay.
So elementary school, little things here and there. We would all be in our rooms. You would hear dishes crashing. Run out to the kitchen. Nothing. Everything's where it needs to be. You would hear the faucet running. You'd be like, oh, maybe my sister left it. I would go check it out. Nothing. And it wasn't just me that heard it. My father, my mother, my sister would all run out. especially when we heard dishes crashing, we'd be like, whoa, what's going on? Nothing. Everything's back in its place. My dad would go look around the house, make sure no one's there, make sure no one broke in or something. It was just really weird, It's just a lot of things would happen like that. I don't think my parents believed it. Honestly, I don't think they wanted to, because even to this day, my mother denies it. But it was very interesting and very interesting. I remember having 1 year older than me, my sister Gloria. I remember we were playing with dolls one day, and we were just playing with her dolls, and doing stuff. And I remember, I was a little boy. I was doing what little boys do. I started punching her doll, to piss my sister off. And she was, stop it. And the doll said, don't hit me like that.
Wow.
And we were like, whoa. So me and my sister look at the doll. We look in the back. There's no batteries. Because we thought that maybe they programmed it so, like, if you do start hitting it, it has sensors where it senses that and it tells you not to hit it. But when we saw that it had no batteries, we just threw the doll and ran.
Man, that's scary.
That's really weird.
Yeah, that reminds me of that. There was a show with Anthony Hopkins where he would talk to his ventriloquist dummy, and it was alive. But at the end, you find out what the real reason is. But yeah, that's spooky.
That is.
Now, on the email you sent me, you said that there was you had a friend over. And I don't want to interrupt your story. If you've got more to add to that, by all means, go ahead and finish that. But I'd like to get to that too.
So I kind of wrote down the timeline. That way, I kind of keep it kind of making sense. But that was most of my elementary. That really what happened was just the dishes crashing, the water running, the dolls, and then I got into high school, and that's when that thing happened with my friend. But before that, I was having a fight with my mother one day, and I called her the B word. The first time I ever done it too. And I was a bad kid when I was young. I closed the door on her, went to sleep. Woke up in the middle of the night. Something was choking me. And it said 3 times, it said, respect your mother, but in Spanish. Respeta tu mamá. And this is the ugliest voice I've ever heard. I cannot replicate it. I mean, it wasn't earthly. I'll tell you that much. I've never reheard it on earth. And it said it 3 times, respect your mom, respect. I was 15. As soon as it said that, it let me go. I got up and I ran to my mom and my dad, and I slept with them.
I don't blame you.
And I was shaking. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I have a permanent bedroom there with my parents, if that ever happened.
Yeah, I was shaking. I could not stop shaking. It was like if I was seizuring, It was really scary. And I used to tell my friends about it, and they never believed me. And I used to have a really good friend. We were really close. His name was Jesus. And he never believed me. He thought I was always joking. So one time, we were over watching TV in my living room. We started, I think we were watching like maybe those haunting TV shows or something.
Yeah, I remember those.
And then I started telling him about it. And he goes, man, shut up. That's not real. And I was like, oh, yeah? Because at this point, I've already grown accustomed to whatever was at the house. I never really did anything except for try to get her attention or the choking incident. The choking incident was as far as it went, Mm-hmm. So I considered it a friendly spirit, whatever you want to call it. And, I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes I would talk to it, And so while we were there, I was like, all right, you wanna bet? I told him. I was like, all right. And then, I was like, hey, my friend doesn't believe you're real, make a noise or something. And you just hear a knocking on the garage door.
Boy.
And my buddy Jesus is all like, man, that's your sister Gloria. And he walks over to the garage, opens it, turns the lights on. Gloria, I know it's you. Come out. Doesn't see anything, so then I hold the door open for the garage while he walks. And he's like, all right, dude, I'm leaving.
Nothing there,
and you would be able to feel the presence, It just wasn't like a knock. You would be able to feel a heavy presence.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, did this all happen in the same house? Or was...
Oh, yes. Yep, same house.
Okay, huh.
And did it follow you when you moved, or was it just at that house?
So after that incident, I moved, and I moved to Arizona, and I tried to have like I said, I was a bad kid, get in trouble a lot. So I moved to Arizona, experienced a couple of things here, and I would feel it. Like I do feel to this day that it follows me around. I feel like it's just staring at me in silence sometimes,
Still now to this day?
Still now to this day. And my wife, I was in the service, so we lived in Kentucky and Colorado, and both states my wife has also seen things. And I'm not sure, if it's whatever is following me around. Sometimes I like to think it is, just because it'll make me feel better than to think it's something else.
Huh.
Yeah. I personally believe that these things are spirits. I don't think, the Bible says, and I don't know what your belief is in the Bible, Mike. I'm a believer of it literally. I think that it tells you exactly what is going on. And
Yep.
I trust it. And it says that no man, once he's dead, ever can speak to the living. And there is I should look that up, chapter and verse, and let people know that, because it actually spells it out. And one of the things where it spells it out is in the story of the witch at Endor, when he was the king of the Jews, of Israel. And he disobeyed God, and he went to a soothsayer, which was a medium, someone who could speak to his dead brother. And he requested to speak to him against God's will, and God told him he was never to ever do that, and he may not get the truth, but he was going to let his brother speak to the dead this one time. But he says that once a man's dead, his thoughts and his ambitions and everything else about him dies with him, and he cannot communicate with the living. So what you're seeing is not a dead person. It's actually a spirit. Something spiritual.
But it talked to him.
Or
Well, yeah. They can talk in any language.
Oh,
like I told my cousins about it, who are like are really big in church, and they say that spirits can't dwell on earth, so it's a demon, but whatever it is, never did any harm to me. As a matter of fact, I try to think that it tried to teach me good things by telling me to respect my mom and
exactly.
when I was hitting the doll.
Yeah, I think they try to tell you good things to throw you off. But the only thing that's good is
a good one.
Angelic beings will do God's will and speak to you. They're communicators. They deliver God's message to people, and they can do that. Anything else, I would not want. I mean, would an angel choke you? I don't think so.
Yeah, you're right.
So it has to be the demon.
So that brings me to the end. So after I moved to Arizona, I moved back to California because I changed a little bit, and then I moved back to California to be back with my parents, and moved into the same room, everything, and I started having experiences again.
wow.
And I was a born again Christian this time because I found Christ in Arizona through my cousin. So
Amen, brother.
yeah, so this time I had a little more knowledge of what I was experiencing and dealing with. So I was cleaning my room one day, vacuuming. I remember cleaning the window, so to the outside. So I closed it. I cleaned the window. I turn around. I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I look back, and the window's open.
Huh.
And I'm like, oh, all right. I'm like, okay. And so this time, with the knowledge I had, with the power that I had, I prayed over it. In the name of God, I command you to leave. I command you to leave me alone. Blah, 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 blah. That's it. That's the last I've ever heard of it.
Exactly.
Yep,
See,
good.
that's what I did.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
I mean, we've all had that feeling where something's watching us or following us, or you catch some dark shadow out of the corner of your eye, and when you look there, it's not there. And I've seen video footage of people that have caught these things that were just barely out of camera range. You can see it clearly move. So there is this, I call them spiritual beings, but they are spiritual. They're just demonic. I mean, they used to
Yeah.
be angelic, and then they fell from grace. That's my opinion. And I've also talked to other people that have had similar experiences, and they've said things like, well, they're not really demons. Fallen angels are not demons per se. They're still spirit, but the demons are actually the half-breed offspring of the angels that fell from grace and came here and mated with earth women. And when those things died, there was no plan for them. They had no place to go. So they're wandering the earth aimlessly. So that's where demonic...
Yeah, that could be true.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, that's just to the best of my knowledge and understanding. And I'm always open to new things, you know. The truth is preferable.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I've always been kind of into this thing, especially with the experiences I've had as a kid. Like, I kind of, if I feel something, I'll follow it. So, like, when I used to work for City of Hope. I don't know if you know what that is.
I've heard of it.
It's the big cancer research in California. So I used to work there as a security guard. And on my breaks, I used to walk up to the old floor for children. So kind of like the pediatric level, the old one, the one that was abandoned. And I would walk up there, and I would never be able to get through the doors because I would feel hands pushing me back, you know?
Wow.
And like it was weird. It was weird, you know. And I would always go into like the tunnels. They have tunnels there, believe it or not. And I would always walk into the tunnels or go into the old abandoned rooms. And you would I would always catch a glimpse of like a shadow in the corner of my eye.
Huh.
So, you know, it is. I do believe in it. I do strongly believe in it. Not just from my experience, but I mean, from what I've seen. It's crazy world.
It is.
Yes, it is.
There's so much of it we don't know. And I was talking with my wife. We took a drive up. We have two homes. We have one up here where Garth is, and we have one down in Phoenix. And when we were driving up here, and this is our country place where we're going to retire, and it's totally off grid and got 10 acres and it's beautiful mountain scenery, and we love to be here. And as we were driving up, I said to her, you know, there's so much about this planet we don't know, and the things that we do know, we really don't. Scientists have always said that this Earth is so old, or they can tell by the layers of strata, or they can tell by what's buried in it. But we found over and over again, if you do any research on it, they use what we call cyclical thinking. They're using one rule that they can't explain to explain another. And the two on their own don't stand up to the truth. So we don't have any idea how old this planet is. We don't know how long it was uninhabited before we got here. And we don't know what was here before we were here. And we also know that, you know, there are angels and spirits, which I think are the same unless they fall from grace, and then they become satanic spirits. But they don't need to breathe oxygen. They don't need to eat. They don't need to sleep. And they're eternal beings. And there is a passage in the Bible that talks about them building things, great cities, before man was here. So they can take physical form, they can take spirit form, they can pretty much do anything, and they've been around since time began.
Yeah.
Mars, you know, I mean, they're finding stuff on Mars, they're finding stuff on the moon they can't explain, and they don't want the public to know. I think it's all explainable by the Bible. The Bible tells us that these beings were here before man was here.
Of course, yeah. So, it's deep. It's deep. It's really deep, you know?
Yes,
like,
it is.
In the service, I would have friends that didn't believe in God and stuff like that, and I'd be like, dude, I challenge you, man. Like, I challenge you. Come with me to a haunted house or where the people say it's haunted, and I promise you'll believe, because it's true, you know?
You know, they find it easy to believe in ghosts sometimes, I find, but they find it hard to believe that there's a God. So that's what I have a problem with. I have friends that are devout atheists. They go, no, you can't prove it to me. I think to be more accurate, they're not really atheists, they're agnostic. If you can prove it to me, I'll believe it. That kind of a thing.
Yes. Well, when they're getting choked and they call out to the name of Christ, then they'll believe.
That's what I say.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll tell you what happened to me one time, and I've never told this story publicly, but I had just moved to Phoenix back in '97, and I was working weekends and making a little money here and there, and I was freelancing as a voice talent. I do TV and radio commercials. And I was making enough to get by, but not really making a living, but enough to survive. And I would stay up late and I'd listen to Art Bell's show, and I would, work on things on my computer, and I'd email friends and try to find jobs online. And this is back when it wasn't so popular. People weren't posting jobs a lot online. I went to bed one night. I was really tired, and I noticed I woke up because I couldn't breathe, and my heart was racing. Like I felt like I was having a heart attack, and I was in my 30s. I go, this can't be. This is not right. And when I woke up, I realized something was on my chest, pressing me down into the bed. And yeah, and it was spooky. I didn't know what to do. And then I realized, this has to be demonic. Why is this thing bothering me? And I just couldn't get it off my chest. I couldn't get relief and catch my breath. I realized I couldn't even speak. I was paralyzed. My limbs would not move. So I'm laying there in bed paralyzed with this thing pressing down on me, and I finally called out the name of Jesus Christ. And I said, Jesus, help me. And I could barely move my lips. It was more like, Jesus, help me. And I couldn't move my mouth.
Yeah.
And I go, Jesus. And finally, I know it sounds funny, but when it happens to you, you'll know. And I finally said it out loud. And as soon as I said that name, Jesus, it lifted. And it still was there. I could still feel it in the room. And then I said it again, Jesus, help me. And then I said, in the name of Jesus, I command you to leave. And boom, suddenly I felt light. And it was off my chest again.
Yeah, just like what we were talking about, yes.
So there is something to this, and I just want people to know there is a cure for it, and his name is Jesus.
Yep.
And he's
totally
alive
agree.
Today. We just don't see him. And I've had angelic things tap me on the shoulder and ask me to help people. I woke up from a dead sleep one time. I felt something tap my shoulder, and this is a quick version of it. And I was dead tired when I went to bed, and you can't wake me for anything when I'm that tired. And I had just gone to bed at midnight, and here it was 2:15, and now I'm sitting up wide awake. And I couldn't figure it out. I thought, this is really odd. I felt like I slept 8 hours. And it was because something woke me up that wanted me awake. And I thought, well, did I hear my name or didn't I? Was I asleep or what was that? So I'm sitting up now, and I hear the voice again, and this time the light's on, and I'm in the room alone. And I said, yeah, I can hear you. And it said, Chris, you can help. And it wanted me to do something. And I said, well, that's a strange request. It asked me to pick up the phone. So I picked up the phone, and I heard someone on the line, and I knew who it was. It was someone that was visiting in the same house I was in. And when I heard them say what they were saying to this person on the line, now I know why I was told to pick up the phone. So I hung the phone back up, and I had enough of the information to know how to deal with it. And I said, okay, Lord, tell me what you would have me do, and give me the right words to approach this person so they don't make a mistake. And he said, the weird thing, before I picked up the phone, I forgot this. He said to me, and it wasn't the Lord, it had to be an angel, because I didn't feel the need to drop to the floor or worship anything. I felt totally at ease. I was not frightened in the least. My heart did not race. You'd think that would scare the daylights out of you, but it didn't. And I just sat there. I knew what it was. And I said, okay. And it said, Chris, you are impelled, but not compelled to help.
Oh, wow.
And I said, that's a weird way to say that. I would have never said that to somebody. I would have said, well, you're not required to help, but I urge you to help. I mean, that's the same thing. Yeah. So it was very strange, the choice of words, and I never forgot those. And it turned that person's life around.
Didn't you have another thing like that, Chris? Something happened to you like that? One of your friends was...
No, that was the same story. Yeah.
And my cousin, who I say saved my life, because, like I said, I was a bad kid, man. I was into a lot of things, So the story is, I came to visit Arizona because I was going to go into, I was going to make a change in my life, and I just wanted to see my family before it took off. And my cousin was like, what if I told you, if you stay here, I can help you change your life? And I was like, doesn't make sense. But I was like, I'll give it a shot. And then he was supposed to take me to his brothers to go drink and take me to church. And I'm cussing him off. I'm like, you said I was going to You said you were taking me, you son of a, I was going off. I was pissed, And I stay in the car. I don't go into the church. I stay in the car. But I had to use the restroom. So I was like, God, I guess I have to go in. So I walk in, and as soon as I walked in, something overcomes me, kind of like if somebody threw a cloth over you, and I start crying. Bam. Start crying, bawling. I can't see where I'm going, but I'm going somewhere, and I was straight to the altar,
Wow.
And and then my buddy Josh, who I had a buddy, that's the guy that was preaching. He prayed over me, and ever since that day, my life changed. I became, a little wannabe gangbanger from Los Angeles to somebody who was going to college, working a good full-time job, trying to make something of himself.
Good for
Instead
you.
of just going from job to job,
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So I do believe in that power, man. It's strong,
By all means.
Yeah, and I think people need to know that, and that's the way out. And if something's bothering you, demons can infiltrate your life in many ways. It can be done through an item that somebody gives you. It can be done through seances. I recommend you never go to a seance. Never go to a tarot card reader or anyone that's a soothsayer that tells you nice things about your life. A soothsayer.
Yep.
But yeah, it's...
And, Chris, that's the reason why I wanted to tell my story, because I know there's somebody out there that's probably dealing with something, maybe not supernatural, but maybe also internal. And I just want them to know that, hey, there's hope out there.
There is.
There's many people who have walked the same footpath that you're walking. And, we've been through the same trials, probably not the same, but close. And I just want them to know there's hope, because after I got back from my first deployment, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't, I was depressed. I started seeing things. It could have been because I was insomniac,
Right.
But I would always see this little demon in the corner of my room just staring at me. And I would stay on my bed till I would fall asleep. But my thoughts that were going through my head was, hey, you're going to die, so don't do anything. Just lay here and wait till you die. I had no hope,
Demons can impress thoughts into your head. They cannot read your minds unless you let them into your body. And they need permission for that. So you don't give them permission. And by giving them permission, God has laws about things crossing over and doing, they have their own realm. They're not supposed to bother you.
Yep.
They're supposed to help you. That's what their purpose was. But when they don't, you have control over them through God. You have no power yourself, but God gives you power. And he says, through me, you can command these things to turn and go away. And don't welcome them into your house by using tarot cards or doorways. If you use a doorway, it's not the object itself that has the power. It's the fact that you're letting it happen. You're giving permission.
Yep, that's correct.
So don't give permission.
No, that's good. Yeah, and like I said, I was ready to die. I would lay on my bed. And one time, I heard a voice. It told me, go back to your roots. I joined the military after I became a Christian and everything. It said, go back to your roots, and it started reminding me about God. And so I went into my closet in my little dormitory that I had, and I started praying. I started playing Christian music. And then through that prayer, I heard a voice tell me that the only thing we have is hope. And if we give hope up, that's the end. That's what that demon was trying to take from me, was my hope.
That makes perfect sense.
Because if I don't have hope, if I don't have hope, I can't look for nothing into the future.
Well, that's exactly right. Why get up in the morning?
Very true.
Yeah.
Think positive and have hope.
So ever since that day, ever since that prayer, I was like, Lord, I have hope. That's all I have left. Let's do this. Boom, things changed,
Yeah.
And but I've had a pretty crazy life.
Yeah, and I want to impress upon people, you don't have to be perfect. I'm not perfect, believe me.
I am.
And I make stupid mistakes every day. And sometimes I live to regret them. But I tell my son, I have a 14-year-old at home, and I tell him, I said, look, you're going to make mistakes. it's going to happen. It's not necessarily okay to make them because maybe you shouldn't have done them to begin with. But think about things before you do them. And you can be forgiven for stupidity. Yeah. God allows us to do that.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, and
Yes.
if you do that and you keep returning to Him, He's not going to let you down.
Yep, that's correct. It's how you respond what matters, and that's just great, Chris. It's good that I'm happy that you guys are doing this podcast to get the word out. Many people are out there like me,
Yeah, I know. It's a scary thing, and you think you're powerless over this stuff, but you're not. They want you to think you're powerless. You actually have all the power you need.
Amen to that.
That's true. That's correct.
I mean, you know that, and we know that, and so anytime something like that happens, or I get a little bit nervous, or I see something out of the corner of my eye, we're human. We're going to still react to that stuff. You're still going to see, or think you see something once in a while, and it may not be anything. It may just be your imagination. And and when I was a kid, I loved to watch scary movies, and I still kind of like old werewolf movies and things like that, which I know aren't. Well, I guess they're not real. I presume they are not. But the older I get, the more I hear things that maybe they are. I don't know. But there's things coming, and so you got to be prepared. There's going to be tests in your life, whether you like it or not. It's coming, and you have to know and understand what's going on.
Yep, that's correct. That's good, Chris.
Did you have any other thing you wanted to share, Mike? Because I don't want to hold you up, but I really appreciate your story.
Yes.
Thank you guys for, letting me tell it. I've held on to it for a long time, and I've always wanted to tell it just because I know as long as I can change one person's life, I've done my job.
Amen, brother. That's great. And I like to share things like that, too, because people don't think they're real until they start happening to them.
Until they start feeling the oppression, the weight on their shoulders. That's not normal.
That's right. People think that all this stuff is psychosis, but it's not. You have physical sensation. And things happen.
Yep.
And when it does, now you know what to do.
That's correct.
Don't welcome it into your life.
Yep.
Did you have any other questions for him, Garth?
No, not really. But I just thought of something that happened when I was living in Lake Havasu when I moved in with my wife. Her family used to live in New York on Long Island, and I guess way back in the 1800s, the later 1800s, there was a guy named Mr. Gould. Yeah, I guess he was a gold miser or something like that. And of course, he passed away, blah, blah, blah. So when they moved out here to Arizona from New York, I guess this guy followed them for some reason. Mm-hmm. And when she was living in her house in Lake Havasu City, when I moved in there with her, we were all sitting in the living room watching TV, and all of a sudden we heard a big crash, like glass breaking. And we walked in there and what in the heck just happened in here? And what happened is the cupboard flew open, and she had a big glass mixing bowl, or measuring bowl. It was huge. It was like a gallon. And it was sitting up on the shelf in the cupboard. The cupboard door was closed, and all of a sudden it just flew out and busted all over the floor. And she says, "Oh, that's Mr. Gould." I said, "What?" "That's Mr. Gould. He followed us here from New York. He's been doing this to us ever since we've been here in Arizona." I said, "Well, that's not good." I said, so I said, "Go to Jesus, Mr. Gould, go to Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, and go find the light, get out of this house, blah, blah, blah." And after that, it was fine.
Well, I think a lot of people think that. I don't think these things are going to go to light. I think they're darkness themselves. I don't think they go to the light. I think they just go away because you use Jesus' name. I don't think they're dead people. I think they manifest themselves sometimes as dead people to make you think that they're dear Aunt Martha that just left the planet.
Oh, dear Aunt Martha.
Yeah, she keeps, every time I mention her,
she was an old bat, though.
That's the fictitious dear Aunt Martha. But
if you ask any Christians with like a lot of knowledge about the Bible and stuff, they'll say that it's demons manifesting after someone else. I mean, if you think about it, demons, they have access to everything.
Yeah.
They can see what we're doing. They can see who we're talking to. They can listen to me and you right now and come to me later on at night, tell me, "Hey, I'm Garth."
Yeah, see?
And that's what I've been telling people too. And it's so nice to hear someone else say it rather than myself.
Yeah,
so
thanks
no,
for that,
I
Mike.
100%.
Now I could listen to you instead of him all the time now. So yeah, hey Mike, how old are you now?
I am 30 years old.
30. Okay. All right.
You've been through a lot in 30 years.
Yes, you have.
You know, it's funny because I just got reminded by another story. But on my first deployment, we were in Afghanistan, and I was on the turret. It was my turn to keep guard. I think it was about 2 a.m. I was scanning my area. Next thing you know, you hear a bunch of gunfire, but I don't see anything. You know, my captain's telling me to shoot. Telling me, shoot, dumbass. I'm like, I don't see anything, you know. It was like the worst night of my life, you know, because I hear the gunfire, but I don't see anything. And come in these what we call ABP, which were the Afghan Border Patrol. They were Afghan's version of the Border Patrol. And they come in, and you know, we call a ceasefire, and we ask them like, "Where are you guys firing at?" And they said, "Oh, we woke up. There was this ghost lady scaring us, so we started shooting at her." And we're like, "Oh, you know, like,
did they hit her?
Come on, guys." I'm not sure. They said they ran, you know, and they were shooting back. But come to find out that if I would have opened fire in that direction, there was a unit right in front of us that didn't call in their position. So if I would have shot in that direction, there would have been a lot of friendly fire.
Oh,
wow.
my gosh.
Boy, lucky.
Could have been back
lucky.
and forth.
Right.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, so like I said, man, it's a crazy world out there, you know?
It is.
These things, they try to work against us at every angle.
Yes, they do. You know what? You reminded me of another story. I heard a minister talk about.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, it's a good one.
Okay.
He said that they were asking him. He was an older man. He was about 85 or something like that. And this guy says, "You've seen it all. You know, you've turned demons. You've preached. You've helped the poor. You know." And he says, "What was the weirdest thing that ever happened to you?" He said, "Well, I'll tell you. One time, I was sitting in my bedroom, and Lucifer himself showed up in my corner chair watching me sleep. And I woke up and I looked at him and I went, 'Oh, it's only you.' And I rolled over and went back to sleep." That's the kind of power and faith this guy had.
Wow, that's crazy.
I don't know how he knew it was Lucifer. Maybe he had a card that says, "Hi, I'm Lucy."
Well, maybe he
A
had
name
horns.
tag.
Name tag.
Yeah, the name tag. Just look at the name tag, buddy.
And that pitchfork probably gave it away. But yeah, that's another thing. You know, he can appear as an angel of light, and people think it. You know, they have to appear as ugly demons and scary things, but they can appear as angels with wings and look beautiful and handsome and still be evil.
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, hey, this was great, Mike.
Yes, it was.
If you ever have run into anyone else that has similar stories that they want to share with us and the audience, I would love to put them on. And it's fascinating.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, you have a good one. And again, thanks for calling. It was great to hear your story.
Oh, thank you. You guys have a good day.
Hey, Mike, I want to ask you something real quick. Did you say you were from El Monte?
Yes.
You grew up in El Monte. You know where North Whittier and La Habra is? Have you ever heard of those towns?
Oh, yeah.
I grew up there.
Oh,
So it's
nice. Yeah, you're just right around the corner.
yeah, right around the corner. What a small world, huh?
It is. It's scary how small the world is because, you know, I have people in the Army, I haven't seen them in years. Like, what are you doing here, bro? I'm here now.
See, there you go.
That's great. All right, man. Well, all right. Well, you take care and talk to you soon.
Take care, Mike. Good talking with you.
I appreciate it, guys. You have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Well, that was an amazing story. And I hope to get more like that. I did a crazy thing, Garth. I put an ad in Craigslist, and that's how Mike got a hold of us.
Well, good.
So anyone that is hearing this in the Phoenix area and you want to get a hold of us, the Bunker Boys address is there, and I, of course, can give it to you. It's bunkerboysunderground@gmail.com.
What are you giving it to me for?
Well, I thought maybe you'd like to write it
You're
down.
looking at me and shaking your hand at me. Don't give it to me. I know it.
It's what I do, doofus.
Oh, okay.
I have to look at something. Here, I'll hide my eyes here so you
Oh,
don't have to see.
perfect.
Okay.
I have strange but true facts to come on.
Oh, go
real
ahead.
quick.
Fire away.
Okay. My strange and true fact is giraffes have no vocal cords.
Is that
Did
right?
you know that? Yeah.
I did not know
I
that.
guess they don't make any noise.
So they wouldn't say something like, "Hey, Gladys!"
Right.
Okay. They
Right.
would just, probably make little humming noises or something.
And then another thing, giraffes, they have the same amount of vertebrae as a human does
Wow, they must be huge then.
in their neck.
Oh, geez, Louise.
What must be huge?
They're vertebrae.
Oh,
To have a long neck like that and have the same amount as we do.
right. It's pretty
crazy.
strange, isn't it?
It is. But we live in a strange world,
Yeah,
don't
we do.
And that ends our show, folks. We are the Bunker Boys. I'm Chris.
I'm Garth.
Goodbye.
Good night.